Hello Ice and Fire Nerds, this is Chris and welcome back to another Game of Thrones Season 7 video. Now I am actually out of town for a couple of days, but I happened to bring my laptop and a microphone, and it's damn sure a good thing because HBO actually released 15 new pictures from Game of Thrones Season 7. These are actually going to be in the show as opposed to just promo pics. There's not a whole lot I think we can pull from them, but nevertheless it's cool to take a look and see if we can pull anything at all. So let's take a look at these pictures together and see if we can pull anything from Game of Thrones Season 7.
Dracarys.
Alright, first up we have a picture of Varys here. Now Varys is dressed a little bit differently here. He's actually got winter clothes on apparently. He's got a little fur here on his robe as compared to his usual golden robes. And also by the looks of the background it does look like he's going to be on Dragonstone. So I would guess here he's going to be standing beside Daenerys here when she meets with somebody, perhaps Jon. And it looks like he's probably standing on her right hand side behind her, unless this picture is reversed, and looking over at her as she speaks to someone, perhaps when they meet Jon for the first time. And next here we have a close-up picture of Tyrion. He's standing here with Missandei and Dany and the whole Team Targaryen crew, along with some Unsullied in the background. And this is part of a larger shot we'll get to in just a second. But you can see here his hand of the Queen pin. He's sporting it. He's got a new darker tunic on, as well as this undershirt, and it looks like to be the same one he wore in the HBO promo video where they were all going So they definitely look to be dressed up here as in they're meeting someone. And next we have my man Tormund, Giantsbane, and Brienne, and he is giving her the damn look for sure, and Brienne's probably not having none of it. But anyway, it looks to be from the background they are in Winterfell. I would assume that Brienne has made it back to Winterfell at this point, so we can certainly hope for these two to get together because Brienne has never had somebody look at her this way. So good luck Tormund, but I'm not going to hold my breath because this is Game of Thrones and probably not going to make it. And here we have the full picture with Tyrion, Grey Worm, Missandei, Varys, some Unsullied, as well as Dany here. They're all formally dressed here. It looks like they'll be meeting someone, and it looks like they're perhaps meeting someone here on Dragonstone for the first time. And with Varys wearing the different clothes, he's got on his regular robe here as opposed to the winter style robe we just saw in the previous picture. I'm going to guess this is going to be in the beginning of the season. They're all looking up at something or someone. So I would take a guess here this is on Dragonstone and is probably perhaps meeting Jon Snow for the first time as him and Davos come from the other angle, perhaps down some stairs because they all seem to be looking up. And of course they could be looking up at a dragon doing something too. And next here we have Sansa and Littlefinger. Now this is at Winterfell. You can see the battlements of Winterfell here. Sansa's looking all regal here. She looks like to have some different clothes on here, perhaps even a breastplate armor. She looks pretty damn serious. I'm going to assume this is after Jon leaves Winterfell or as he's leaving, and Littlefinger's already starting his manipulation. You can see the look on his face as they look down to something in the courtyard. Is she now playing him for the fool, or is she going to continue to be manipulated by Littlefinger and cause some strife between her and Jon? And next here we have a shot of Sam and Gilly at the Citadel perhaps, or perhaps somewhere near the Citadel because technically women are not allowed there, but Gilly is with him. He looks to be studying some books. And more importantly here, Gilly is actually reading something. She learned to read from Sam initially in the first few seasons. That's going to be very, very important, I think. I've said in the past, I think she may actually be the one to help Sam come up with some kind of answer about the Long Night. And apparently what she's reading here is actually a passage from the world of Ice and Fire. And it looks like they've changed a couple things here due to the show as far as the word R'hllor and the Lord of Light. So it looks like they've probably interchanged that. But what she's actually reading here is from the world of Ice and Fire, ancient history talking about the Long Night, and it says this. It is also written that there are annals from Ashai such as darkness and a hero who fought against it with a red sword. His deeds are said to have been performed before the rise of Valyria in the earliest age when Old Geese was first forming its empire. The legend has spread from the west of Ashai, and the followers of R'hllor claim that this hero is named Azor Ahai and prophesy his return. In the Jade Compendium, Koloko Vatar recounts a curious legend from Yi which states the sun hid its face from the earth for a lifetime, ashamed at something none could discover, and that disaster was averted only by the deeds of a woman with a monkey's tail. So it looks to me that is actually what Gilly is reading. This is a passage from the world of Ice and Fire. It looks to me the only difference here is they interchanged the words Lord of Light and R'hllor because in the show, of course, they hadn't mentioned the name R'hllor, so that would make more sense for the show to call him the Lord of Light and not actually name the Red God. And I did mention in a previous video that I thought Gilly may stumble across something important and actually be the one to clue Sam into something big time because she did learn to read in the first place. And next we have a close-up of Missandei looking all regal in her black stuff, and this is on Dragonstone again, probably during the same scene we saw a minute ago because we have the sun shining in the background. It's not snowing yet in Dragonstone that far south, and this is obviously Dragonstone due to the background. And next we have Lady Lyanna Mormont looking all regal, of course, still in Winterfell here, with some lords or people in the background, and of course Littlefinger's in the background still with that kind of look. So this looks to be almost right after Jon was proclaimed King of the North. We don't really know that for sure, but it looks to be that they are having a meeting at Winterfell about something. And I'm going to guess here this may be when Jon decides to head south to Dragonstone to meet Dany, because of course they probably received a raven from the new Dragon Queen that just arrived in Westeros. And then we have a shot of the Hound in the north, and this looks pretty badass. You've never seen him like this, wrapped up in winter clothing. This could be anywhere. Winter is here now, so we know that it's going to be snowing a lot of places, and we know by the end of the season it will be snowing in King's Landing that far south. So this could really be anywhere, but it looks like he's prepared for battle because he is wearing chainmail. And those look to be like friendly soldiers around him as opposed to captors or something. I don't see him in chains, so perhaps that Stark men is just other members of the Brotherhood without banners. And next we have Davos. Now Davos here is sitting at Winterfell. It looks to be at the head of the table, and it looks to be his seat is to the right of Jon's seat. So perhaps Davos is Jon's right-hand man now officially, as far as kind of being a new hand of the king. Now normally a king of winter or a king in the north does not really have a hand of the king, although they probably have a right-hand man. And Davos would obviously fit that perfectly, but this looks to be the same hearth in Winterfell at the main table, so it looks like to me this is during some meeting, perhaps before Jon heads south to meet Dany. So I would guess this would be earlier in the season. And next we have Dany looking at something here, or someone, perhaps reminiscing about something. This looks to be on Dragonstone here. You can kind of see the background with the stairs and the stone walls. It looks to be like she perhaps stepped down from her throne here, perhaps meeting someone for the first time officially. Perhaps it's Jon again in a different scene in the throne room. We do know from the previous teaser that Dany is going to have her own throne. Or it could be that she's coming across some Targaryen artifact or something in Dragonstone that gets her attention and makes her think about her family, her ancestry, and her past. But obviously by her clothing here, she is very dressed up for some official meeting or event. And next we have the Mad Queen Cersei on the Iron Throne with her new clothes. Now it looks to be Jaime is standing beside her, at least putting up with her for the moment. We know from the last shot last season that he didn't agree with her and what she had done to gain her throne. So Jaime's going to play a part for a little while here. I do think at some point he will become the Queen's Slayer. And the other thing I noticed here in this picture was the sword that Jaime's wearing here. This looks to be Widow's Wail. Now, of course, if you remember, ice was melted down into two different swords, Widow's Wail, which went to Joffrey, and Oathkeeper, which Jaime gave to Brienne. So Brienne still has Oathkeeper. Looks like he may have put out Widow's Wail. And that could be a little symbolic thing about the little link between them as well, although I think it never happens. And next we have a picture here of Bran and Meera. This is somewhere in the north, obviously, because she's still pulling him. I would guess here by the background that they're actually close to the wall or right at the wall, perhaps looking up at the wall, simply because there are no trees around. And as we know, the Night's Watch keeps the trees trimmed back a half a mile from the wall so they can see any approaching danger. So they are in an open area here, so I'm going to guess here that this is when Bran and Meera finally arrive at the wall. And next we have Arya. Now it's hard to say what she's doing here. It looks like she possibly could still be in the Twins here, perhaps, just by the lighting, but it also could be some kind of inn. She's definitely sitting here at a table looking up. She doesn't have a face on. It looks like she's just out in the open. She doesn't look to have her dark northern clothes on yet, so this may be an inn on the way to Winterfell, or perhaps this is at River Run after she perhaps releases Edmure Tully. Now, of course, this could also be Winterfell too after she gets back. It's just really hard to tell by the background and the lighting here, but it looks to be that is food in front of her, and it's hard to tell from the two guys behind her, but there is a table there with what looks to be like a wine goblet. So this could be an inn, this could be Winterfell, this could be a River Run after she releases Edmure Tully, if she in fact does that, or this could still be at the Frey's place, the Twins, after she takes out everybody else. And last but not least, we have Jon Snow in what looks to be the crypts of Winterfell. This looks to be before he leaves to head out to Dragonstone. I'm going to guess here by the shape of the hallway this is the crypts, although they do look a bit wider in previous seasons, and there are typically a lot more sconces going as far as the fires in the background, but the shape of the hallway looks to be possibly the crypts. And if this is the crypts, this is a very, very big deal, because he's likely looking at a certain statue of one Lyanna Stark. Alright guys, so that's all I have for today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I think these pictures are very, very cool, and it gets me a little bit hyped up about Season 7, although it's still a couple months away. You can definitely see a darker theme here in all the clothing. Even Varys has changed his clothing from his bright gold robes to these dark wintry style robes. And also let me know what you think about the picture, particularly with Jon Snow. Is he in the crypts of Winterfell, and is he going to find out about his parentage in Season 7, or will that be a Season 8 thing? I think that's pretty interesting that they released that shot, perhaps in the crypts, because if he's in the crypts, he has to have a reason to go down there. Now, it also could be he's actually visiting Ned's bones, because in the show, the bones did make it back to Winterfell, apparently, because he did say last season that he would like to have his brother Rickon buried beside his father, so he could be simply visiting Ned's bones in Winterfell as far as the crypts goes, and this may be before he finds out about R plus L equals J and his true parentage being a Targaryen and a Stark. Anyway guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. As usual, thank you for all the support. Be sure to subscribe to get everything. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.